And these are the ingredients to a very hearty vegan soup.
It's got onions, peppers, potatoes, carrots, corn, beans, rice, fake chicken, leeks, tahini, vegetable broth. What you're gonna need, one of these pots, maybe two. I only have one, so I'm only using one. You're gonna need a little pot like this one. You're gonna need a pan. Because I only have one of these big pots, I'm gonna start with the corn, and I'm gonna make rice. I only have 2 ears of corn, so I'm gonna start by shucking this corn. Oh, shucks. Two things of corn. Now I sweep up the little hairs of the corn that got on the floor. So I'm only gonna put enough water in this pan so that way the corn would be completely covered. The corn are gonna float on the top, so I don't need to fill up this whole thing. It will take even longer to actually start boiling. So this pot with the corn is both gonna have lemon juice, sugar, and salt put into it. I'm also gonna boil the water for the rice. You know how to make rice. So I'm gonna go ahead and make about a cup of this rice because that's what I have. The reason I did this corn first is because I only have one big pot, right? And so I'm gonna need that big pot for my soup, but I also need that big pot to boil this corn. So I'm getting the corn out of the way so I can add it in later. And I'm gonna take this corn, I'm gonna put it back into this pan right here. I'm gonna add some garlic and some butter and some finely diced peppers and some black pepper and a little bit of salt. I'm gonna make them taste really good on their own. So then while that's going, I'm gonna get the broth started in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on to like medium. I'm gonna go ahead and add the vegetable broth. I'm gonna add a little squeeze of lemon. I got this poultry seasoning. It's got thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary, black pepper, and nutmeg. So it's got that real chicken smell and flavor, so I'm gonna add a little bit of this to the broth. Because basically, I'm making like a really vegetable chicken and rice soup. 2 really big bay leaves in there. You don't eat these, they're just for flavor. So I go ahead and leave those in throughout the cooking process. Some people take them out at the end, but I just go ahead and leave them in there. If you have some Bragg's or some soy sauce, go ahead and chuck that in there. I use a little bit of this Vindaloo and Rogan Josh seasoning that I got. They're kind of earthy, but also sort of lemony. Like this Vindaloo seasoning has a garlic, cumin, ginger, cinnamon, mustard, cayenne, pepper, jalapeno, cardamom, turmeric, black pepper, and cloves. So that one's actually kind of a tough seasoning. This one's got paprika, garlic, ginger, cumin, coriander, tell cherry, black pepper, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, cardamom, clove, saffron. They're both really earthy. I'm gonna put a little bit of Mrs. Dash in there. I'm also gonna put a bit of red miso in there, a little bit of miso paste. Really want it to have that like funkiness and delicious umami flavor. Use like that much. So I diced up some red peppers, which I'm gonna put in with the corn. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more water to that back one with the broth. So the great thing about making soup is that it's gonna really last you. It's gonna last you hopefully some days. I mean, of course that corn is good. It doesn't need to get cooked over and over and over. It is gonna be basically corn cooked 3 times, once being boiled, once being fried, once put into the pot with the soup. But we're building flavors, you know? I want that corn to be totally tasting good all by itself. For now, I'm gonna put it in a separate bowl. So for now, I got this rice and this corn in 2 different bowls, and I'm gonna wait to throw them in. I'm gonna throw a lot of these things in at the same time. I'm gonna save this rice close to last because it's gonna soak up a lot of that flavor fast. But what we really need to cook first are these carrots and potatoes and get them nicely glazed and ready to go into that big pot. I'm just putting this in the same pan that buttery corn was in. That's gonna be great. I'm just gonna put the carrots and the purple potatoes in first because they take a little bit longer to cook. And there's only so much room in the pan. So I'm gonna bring the salt. I'm gonna put some more pepper in here. I'm gonna put some ancho chili, turmeric, a little bit of curry powder. I love curry powder. A little bit of fancy light chili powder, ground cumin. I'm a huge fan of Indian food. Indian food is my favorite. So I got all the Indian spices. That's my favorite. I'm really packing in the flavor and glazing up my ingredients really good. So that way by the time they reach that soup, they're already delicious. Putting the potatoes in now. These potatoes are looking pretty well cooked. They're nice and glazed, nice and cooked down. They're pretty much ready. So far we only have like some broth in here in the back, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add this to the back. Maybe what I'll do is I'll bring this back one forward. I'll put these potatoes in first. I'm gonna go ahead and add that corn now too. Remember to taste your stuff as you make it. That's important, especially if you've never made something before. Make sure you taste along the way. I'm washing it off, don't worry. I still got this rice, but I'm thinking I'm gonna wait a little bit and put it in closer towards the end so that way it doesn't like suck up too much of it and blow up. Putting in some butter beans in this. Go ahead and throw those in. Of course, empty out the liquids first. I'm also gonna add some tahini. The tahini and the lemon together will give it a good flavor, and the tahini should also make it a little bit thicker. Shake it up nice and good. Kind of liquidy at the top. One of my favorite meat substitute brands is Gardein. This is one of their mini chicken substitutes, and I really like it. It comes in like these little strips. Now, the great thing about the Gardein chicken is it's got like those terry kind of fibers. Thunder. It's got those terry kind of fibers like chicken. You bite into it and it feels like chicken. It's just like chicken. Granted, it's been some years since I've had some chicken, but it seems right. So yeah, there's a lot going on with this particular recipe. You see me cook a bunch of different things separately. Let's see, there's not too much left. All I really gotta do at this point is add this rice, which I'm about to do. That's starting to look pretty full, which is awesome. I'm gonna boil this water back here. I'm gonna make some of these pearl onions, right? Those are gonna go in last, along with a little bit of spinach and some cut up mushrooms. Pearl onions are a little bit weird. You have to boil them for like a minute or for like 30 seconds or whatever the package says, and then you have to put them in a cold bath and let them sit for a little while, and then you like cut off the end and like squeeze out the middle onion part. It's a kind of an interesting process, but I really like them. I think they're delicious. So I pulled these onions out and I put them in this cold bath. Now I'm putting them in the freezer, not for too long, just for a little bit. That is finally done, and that's looking very hearty. That is what some savory looking delicious soup is supposed to look like.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. See that? That is a hearty vegan soup. Let's see how Alyssa likes it, shall we?
Alright, here you go. Let me get you some hot sauce.